Hello students, you are highly welcome to this class. This is mathematics class, and today we'll be considering this topic again, application of integration. And basically we are looking at how to find the area under a given curve. We solved a particular example in our previous class, and in that example we found the area bounded by a given curve and the x-axis. But in this example we'll be looking at area bounded by a given curve and the y-axis. So assuming you want to find the area bounded by a given curve, is equals to a function of y, and the y-axis in the closed interval a comma b, then the formula is integral from a to b of absolute value of f of y with respect to y. The reason for the absolute value is that area cannot be negative. That's why the absolute value is important there. So in this example too, they ask us to find the area bounded by x is equal to 16 minus y raised to power 2. The axis y is equals to minus 4 and y is equals to 4. Formula says integral from a to b, that will be integral from a is what? Minus 4, the first point of y, to b, which is what? 4, the second point of y, which is 4. Then absolute value of f of y is what? See the function of y here, 16 minus y raised to power 2. So we have 16 minus y raised to power 2. We are integrating with respect to y. So this will be integral from minus 4 to 4. So let's analyze the function we have inside here so that we know whether we are to remove the absolute value or not. So what we have inside the absolute value is 16 minus y raised to power 2. The question is this function positive throughout the interval minus 4 to 4? So if you substitute numbers from minus 4 to 4, will this thing be positive? Now if you are going from minus 4 to 4, if you put minus 4 here for y, if you square it, you have positive what? 16. You'll be doing 16 minus 16, which will be 0. Then if you are going towards 4, all numbers from minus 4 to 4, as you square them, they will be positive. And if you subtract the result from 16, you are going to get something greater than 0. You can only get 0 if you substitute minus 4 and what? 4. So this function is always positive within this interval. Had it been that the function is negative within the interval, we would have introduced a minus on the function. And when we introduce minus on the function, you can now remove the absolute value. Why? Because if something inside the absolute value is negative, then the absolute value of that negative quantity is negative of that very quantity. Because if you do minus of a minus of a number, you are going to get what? Positive number. You are going to get positive answer, because absolute value cannot be negative. But if something inside the absolute value is already positive, then the result is just what is inside the absolute value. You don't need to put negative. But because what is inside here is positive for all values of y from minus 4 to 4, you are going to have that absolute value of 16 minus y squared is same thing as 16 minus y squared with respect to this interval. So this will be, we integrate. If you integrate, you now perform the integral. If you integrate 16 with respect to y, integral of a constant is that constant multiplied by the variable you are integrating with respect to. We are integrating with respect to y. So integral of 16 is 16 multiplied by y. So we have 16y. Then we want to integrate y raised to power 2. So we have minus here. Then to integrate y raised to power 2, you add, if you add 1 to the index is 2. If you add 1 to 2, you have 3. Then use the result to divided by 3. Then this is the result of the integral. Then we're evaluating this integral from minus 4 to what? 4. So you put the upper value of y, that's 4. If you put 4 here, you have 16 multiplied by 4, then minus, put 4 here, 4 raised to power 3 divided by 3. Then you now put minus before putting the lower bound. Lower bound is what? Minus 4. You put it for y here. You have 16 multiplied by minus 4. Then we have minus here, right? Then you put minus 4 here. You have minus 4 raised to power 3 divided by 3. Then you now close the bracket. So this will be, so we are going to have 16 multiplied by 4 minus, we have 4 raised to power 3 divided by 3. Then let's analyze what we have here. We have 16 multiplied by minus 4. Then the result will be negative, right? Because if you use 16 to multiply negative 4, the result will be negative. But we have minus here already. So minus of negative number will be positive. So I have positive 16 multiplied by 4. Then you have negative 4 raised to power 3. If you do negative 4 raised to power 3, the result will be negative. Then we have negative here, making the result what? Positive. But remember, we are still having negative outside the bracket. So, which will make it to negative because the inside gave us positive answer. But this negative outside will make that positive to be negative. So, we are going to have negative 4 raised to power 3 divided by 3. We have 16 multiplied by 4. You are going to have 64. Then minus, we have 4 raised to power 3 is 4 times 4 is 16 times 4. You are going to have 64 over 3. Then plus 16 times 4 is 64 minus 4 raised to power 3 is 64 over 3. So this is basically what we have. This is what we have. Then if you simplify this further, you are going to get what? The final result, which will give you the area under this curve. So thank you so much for being part of this class. I'm expecting you in our upcoming class. Bye.